Hi, grade 11. So we're looking at mechanical assembly drawing number 3, and we pay our attention to the given instructions here. So we have an exploded isometric drawing, which I'm going to just highlight here, and the exploded drawing refers to this component here, where you see how the whole component, which is the support assembly, must be assembled. And then you have the different views of each of the components given on this side over here. And then the clear instruction is that we need to answer on page 6, which is that page over there. And you must use point S as the reference. So you'll find that there's a point S here, which is the reference or the starting point. And that point is going to coincide with the S that you have here. So there are two S's. So we are going to look at what is it that we need to do. So you must draw to scale 1:1, and that's very important if you look at your page. And you must draw a sectional front view, and that is seen from the arrow that you have here, sectional front view. So everything is going to be cut perfectly in half as the line is drawn right through each of the component. And then you will have to draw a left view as well. So the left view will be from this side here, and if you carefully examine here, we are going to look at each of the components. We have a front view and a left view of the main component, and in some cases you will have a top view as well. So let us quickly look at the part list. So you have a base as number 1, and there's the base. Already it has been put in some sort of a cubicle. Then you have your shaft. Your shaft is going to be right here at the top. There you see your shaft, and you see there's point S, which is the center of that little hole that we see there, and that is going to have an impact on the starting point, or where you are going to have that position in this base section here. Then you will have the housing. The housing is this component over here. There you see a 3D version of the housing. And then you have the bush. This is the bush over here. There is a 3D version of the bush, and remember the bush goes through that hole over there. And then you have a grease nipple. The grease nipple is this component here. It goes in on the side of that component there. There's the top view of it, and there you can see it in the 3D where it goes in. Then you have a pin. A pin is this component here, which is a round metal component, which goes into that component over there where S is indicated. And then you will have a washer and a nut, and that's in your 3D format here, where the washer goes first and the nut follows on the shaft, which is there. Alright, and the washer and the nut hopefully is situated on this side of this upright panel that you see there. Right, so basically you need to take note of the following, that you need to draw and show 3 sides of the hexagonal a nut in the front view. So in this view you will have to show 3 sides. We're going to look at that, and there you will have to show the 3 sides like that there. You will have to show all the constructions of the nut, which we will be going through in our drawing, and no hidden detail is required. You must include the following, which is the cutting plane on AA, and that will be in this view that you see here, your left view. And then you will have to label the view as the section AA, and scale 1:1 must be labeled underneath the drawing as well. Alright, so the first component I'll be looking at and drawing on my answer sheet will be my base here. So this is my base. So I'm going to draw this base and start with this component here with all the dimensions as it is here. I'm going to draw it faint. Remember, once I've completed this, I'm going to move to my left view immediately to set both views up. But then I will just focus on this view first and then complete this view after. But I will have to set up both. So this will be projected over some of the dimensions you're going to have here on the side here, which you will have to project over to get to this side over here. Watch carefully how the different sizes are projected over, and that's very important, especially this hole which is here, which is not given here, so that is drawn here and projected over. So there's an interlink, or there's a link between the two views, the section front view and the left view. Don't forget to put in the cutting line, because that is where everything is going to be cut in half, and this part here is going to be removed. You won't be able to see much of this here. Remember, this runs right through. So I'm only going to draw this part and that part there, and leave a little gap here for the other components to form on this view here as well. Let's do that first. Then is the next component which I will draw my attention to, and your attention to as well, will be the shaft. The shaft will start with point S, the reference point S, and it will link up with this specific point over there. That line there, learners, forms the center, which is the 28 up, the center of it. And you're going to find that the center is going to be there. Just remember, you're going to draw from the 8 that way, draw a line, measure 8 that way, draw a line, and then from there 25 this way. The gap here in your base is 12. You will see that's 12 because that 12 comes from there and it fits perfectly through that 12. There it is. M12 refers to the 12, but you'll see on this side it's 10 over there, which basically means that this here, the threaded portion, will be 1 millimeter on this side and 1 millimeter on that side and 1 millimeter here. Don't forget to have 45 degrees on these ends here as well. Alright, and then you work your way 16 in to create that there, and this little component would be diameter 4, which you can work on your circle template. I'm going to attempt this shaft into my drawing now. Watch carefully how it's being done. So the net component is the housing, which I believe is the most difficult component in assembly 3. But I want you to listen carefully to how I'm going to approach when I'm going to put this together. So that would be the point where you're going to start, and that point now on your shaft must link to this point over here. So that perfectly fit into the shaft until that point over there, right? So that has been there drawn already, it's there already. All you need to do is to add this 60-degree angle here, and you need to do that with your 60-degree set square. That's an oil hole. That little part is an oil hole. So you're going to draw this part over there, and then you're going to work in this part over here, that part, and I'm going to color that in. You're going to draw all of this. Now just remember, this part here is the hole for this greased nipple over here. It's an open section. We are going to draw this very last in our component here towards the end. So you're going to draw all of that, get this dimension, and you're going to get it from here. Just be meticulous as to the dimensions given and where it links up. So it's going to take you a little bit of time. So you're going to work through that where you get to this line. So that shape here is going to form from here. It's going to go like that, like that, like that, and it's going to slant down. If I must just give you a sort of indication as to what's going to happen. And then you're going to work your way across like that. It's always better to also get the center line in. So you can perhaps make the center line. So I'm just going to, you just have to ignore this now. So that's my center line over there. And I'm going to draw that up with that little part over there. And then it's going to come down in this line here, which lines up with that over there. So this here, I'm going to color that in. This is going to be metal there, right? This is going to be the metal, which is that part over there. And this is going to be the open section, right? An open section that you will see. There will be a solid line there, solid line, solid line, solid line, solid line. So you need to work and find those outside areas, outside wall of this housing component. This is an open section here. There you can see it's open. Any dimension that not given here you will find on here. You just need to link it up, and it's best if you draw and get the center line from here. So that is 46, so half of 46 is going to be 23 to get the center line, and work half and half off the center, like 19 and 19 here. There you're going to have 32, which is the full 16 and 16, and then this outside here is going to be 22 and 22. So pay meticulously attention to that, and then the heights here will form from the 18, the 23, 26, 30 and 40, the respective heights. But start over here, and eventually you're going to get this part here, which is the opening for the grease nipple. You're going to start on an angle which you can see it's already on your set square. It's going to be 45 degrees. So you're going to start with the center line which you have there. The gap opening is going to be M8, so it's 4 on this side and 4 on that side. The depth is 8, as you can see here. And then there's a little center line that goes right through. You can view that, a little opening there. Draw all of that, but draw it solid, because eventually when you cut it, it's going to be an open area, because the cut goes right through. So you're going to have an open area, and once you do that, half of this grease nipple has been drawn already. You just need to add the part that's coming on the outside. Okay, I'm going to show you now how to do it. Pay attention to how it is being done. now we turn our attention to the bush. We have completed the housing, and you will find that the bush actually slides perfectly in this space over here. You're going to draw the outline, which basically would be here. Some of it had been drawn already, so you just need to bring in this part over here. And remember, when the bush is cut, that becomes a solid line there, and that becomes a solid line, which basically will be there and there. And then that will be hatched as well. We're also going to hatch the housing component as well, together with the bush, upon the completion of the bush drawing. Let's do that quickly. So learners, inside this particular nipple hole here is the grease nipple, which we're going to be looking at, and that component would be this here, and I want to zoom in on the specification dimensions. So you will find that this part exists already with the 8 inside the housing, which is that component there. All you need to draw is that little rectangular shape, which is the difference between 12 and 8, which is 4, and this dimension till that straight line there, which is 17. Then you're going to use a circle template for that whole, for that semicircle there, the whole of the, it says here R13, but you're going to use a 6 diameter for that circle there to only highlight the semicircle, which is R3. And then these lines that, or semi or arcs that form here, those would be drawn R5 basically, which means that the radius is 5, but you will use a circle template of 10 radius on there. Okay, so that's 10 radius, just double it up times 2, 3 times 2, that's going to be 6, and that's going to be 10. I will show you in my next video, as we unfold the grease nipple, exactly how to use the circle template, drawing those 2 arcs and the semicircle. The next component is the pin that goes in that little space there. It's a length of 28, but we only see this part over here, which we have drawn already. So I'm going to go to my drawing over here, and it's too small to hatch, so I'm just going to color that in like that, and that will serve as my hatching for the pin. Then as the last two components then would be the washer and followed by the M10 nut. But there is, however, a mistake here in terms of the M10 nut. These are basically corresponding, or should be corresponding, so that needs to be changed to an M12 nut. I want you to bring about that correction, not an M10 nut, because this hole here is 10 millimeters, and that 10 millimeters cannot fit over an M12, 12 millimeters. So I'm going to correct that M10 to M12. So you're going to push through the washer, and if that's the end, the washer will just be making contact with the base there, and then we are going to have to draw an auxiliary view here, which is around a center point, which I will show you in a minute. We will then take the M10, and this is very important, or in this case M12, times that by 1.5, because that gives you the circle that we are dealing with here now. So 12 times 1.5 is going to be 18. So we're going to have a circle here of 18, which we're going to draw, and you will see in a moment. And then we're going to draw tangents, starting with vertical tangents, and at 60 degrees, these angles. So everything is going to run at 60-degree angles for my tangents to be able to complete my nut. My height of my nut is going to be 10, which is going to be that part over there. So follow the instructions very carefully with regard to the nut construction. So learners, to finally conclude this drawing, you have completed the section AA, and we just need to draw the one component that can be viewed from the side here. So if you look at your exploded view, and you are viewing this from this side, and I'm going to zoom in on it very quickly. This slides in here into this component here. That part here is the only component that is going to be visible from this side. You won't be able to see that. You won't be able to see the nut. You won't be able to see the bush. So we only need to draw in that component here, which has a little slot on either end that fits into that space over there. So we already have this. I'm just going to draw that over there. So in the next part, I'm going to show you, use the dimensions here, across here mostly, to put in that component there. Enjoy.